Hi everyone, Melissa here. I'm back with another video, and this week's video I'm really excited to share because it's something that a lot of people on the channel, subscribers and clients, are always asking about. And I had a personal success story recently, so I just really want to share this. So this video is going to be all about removing a third party. So if you're interested in removing a third party, you just want to know about how to do it, I think this video will really help you. And before I get into it, I'm available for one-on-one coaching. You can find the link for that in the description of this video. I also have some awesome courses if you prefer self-study. The link will also be in the description. Okay, so this video is going to be all about what is a third party and how to remove a third party from your reality experience. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to use a personal success story that happened to me recently. So the third party in my example was a friend of a friend. And this was someone who kept showing up just really in a bad way. Like every story I ever heard about this person was just awful. This person was not a good friend. They were always tearing down my other friend, making them feel bad. They were always in victim mode and making my friend feel like they were at fault, and they were take, but not give. Like it was a really one-sided relationship from my perspective. And I only ever heard bad things about this person. And then when this person came into my experience even more and I had to actually deal with them, every time I dealt with them, it was just an awful experience. They were rude, they were disrespectful, they were narcissistic, they were demanding. Everything had to revolve around them. Every schedule had to be around them. Every plan had to be about them. And my friend was just constantly being taken advantage of. That's how I perceived it, okay? And that person kept projecting that back. So at first, I told my friend about everyone as you pushed out, and I was like, look, you can start assuming better of this person, and then they're going to start showing up better. So forget what happened in the past. Forget how bad everything you think was in the past. Focus on the now moment. How are they now? How do they treat you now? How is your relationship, friendship now? So my friend worked on that, and that person actually started showing up better for a little bit. They got back into contact with them after a fight. They really were doing okay for a while, and that person was showing up being nice and friendly. But then slowly but surely, those crappy behaviors started showing up again. The person started being rude. They started being demanding. They started being, needy, and it's all about them again. And then it just started escalating and escalating. And at some point, my friend was just like, this is just how this person is, that everyone as you pushed out means that people show up how you assume them to be, or how you assume you are treated. So when you change your assumptions, those people change. But in some cases, you just might not want to exert the energy to change your story about a certain person. And so they're not going to show up different. So in those cases, there's nothing wrong with just saying, okay, well, I just don't want this person around anymore. I don't like this version that's showing up. I don't want them in my reality anymore. Okay. So this friend of mine, wasn't able to make the changes stick in terms of changing their assumptions. And neither was I, because how I was perceiving it was, this is a bad person. I don't want them around me. I don't want them around anybody I know. And I really think, friend, you can do better. You can get better friends. Like, you deserve better. You can find better. This person is not good for you. So that was my perception, and I just wasn't willing to change it. I just didn't want to do the work to change it. But I knew I don't want this person in my friend's life anymore. I don't want this person in my life at all. So after a few bad encounters with this third party, my friend and I actually got into an argument about it, because they kept trying to bring that person around, and I kept saying, no, I don't want them in my world. Keep them away. I don't care. If you want to keep hanging out with them, that's fine. But don't ask me for anything to do with that person. Don't bring them around me. Don't bring them around other people that are in my life. Like, keep them away. And so we kind of got into an argument, and I put my foot down. I said, no more. And I completely reacted. To the 3D. I got mad. I said, I don't want this third party around anymore. I was resisting it, right? Because what you resist persists. So if you see something you don't like and you keep saying, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it, guess what? You're just announcing it's there and you don't like it over and over and over again. So what are you going to experience? That person being there and you not liking it over and over and over again. So after I reacted, after we got into this argument, I distanced myself from my friend and I started working on my story. And I thought, okay, what do I want to be true? I want for my friend to be happy with good friends, and I want for my friend to not have to deal with this crazy person anymore. I want this toxic person, this perceived toxic person, out of their experience too. You know, like I wanted the best for them, and I wanted that person out of my experience. So instead of changing my assumption about the third party, I just started changing my assumption about my friend who was most affected by the third party, my friend who introduced the third party to me, right? So I started saying, they realize I was right. They realize this person is not a good friend. They realize this person is mean and not supportive, and they're tired of it, and they are going to cut ties. They're going to cut ties. They're going to realize I was right. They're going to appreciate how much I cared about them, and they're going to appreciate my take on it, and they're going to cut ties. And anytime I thought about that friend or the third party, that's the only thing I would let myself assume. That's the only thing I would let myself think moving forward. Okay. So I didn't keep focusing on how crappy the third party was, or how toxic they are, or how awful they are, or that they're there. I didn't even really focus on the third party at all. I just focused on, what does my friend think about the third party and what's true about what's true, right? So they're cutting ties. They agree with me. They're not going to talk to them anymore. They're done. Okay. So I maybe thought that a couple times. I wasn't hyper focused on this because it wasn't something immediately bothering me a lot, even though I got into an argument with somebody about it. I wasn't super concerned about it, probably because it wasn't in my everyday experience. But when I thought about it a few times, I thought those things. Okay. And I hadn't talked to that friend since the argument. Okay. So I want to say like a week went by, maybe it was a little bit less than that. And that friend reached out to me for something else. And they were like, are you still mad at me? Are we not talking? And I was like, we're talking. I just don't have anything else to say about, the third party. And they were like, well, we're not doing very good. We're not doing very good. And I was like, okay, and in our conversation before, that friend was even like, you can't tell me who to be friends with. And, they were really defending that third party. But look now their story started changing. This time when they're talking to me, they're like, we're not doing really good. We're not good now. We're not good. Okay. So they start shifting how they're perceiving that relationship, right? Like they were starting to see them as not good. Okay. So we had that one quick little interaction about something else. And then a few days later, I had to interact with that friend again for something else. They reached out to me again and they were like, well, we talked about whatever we needed to talk about. And they were like, oh, by the way, I just want to let you know, third party and I are done. We're not talking anymore. They're completely out of the picture and I don't want anything to do with them ever again. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you made a choice that feels better for you. And in my mind, I'm like, that's right. Third party's gone because I decided they were. In my reality, because of my perception as boss, what I perceive is my power. That's the truth, right? The truth I embody is the truth, period, because I'm the only perceiver in my reality. So I had stopped perceiving that third party as existing, as being a problem. And guess what? They're gone now. My friend no longer talks to them. They have completely cut ties. And if you ask them about that person now, they'll say they were a terrible friend. They were completely toxic. I don't want anything to do with them. So from their perspective, it worked out to their advantage as well, because they now don't have this crappy relationship in their life. And this wasn't a romantic relationship or anything, but it was somebody that they spent a decent amount of time with and talked to enough, and it was somebody that was constantly making them feel bad and tearing them down. Okay, so now from their perspective, it's a really good thing that third party is gone, and from my perspective, it's a great thing because I didn't want them around in the first place. So I was really excited to share the story, one, because it happened super fast. Like I want to say from the time I reacted to the time the third party was gone was maybe 2 weeks max. I didn't really keep track of the days, but it was not very long at all. once you decree something as true, the momentum starts moving. It's already unfolding. You just have to let it, right? You have to let it by not letting the unwanted thoughts win, not letting yourself be imprisoned by the unwanted story, not letting yourself fall victim to the unwanted story. Those are just thoughts. They don't get power to decide your reality. They don't get power to determine your experience unless you let them, unless you label them as true, unless you continue to label them as true. Don't let a thought steal your peace. Don't let a bad thought, an unwanted thought, steal your peace. Don't let an unwanted narrative steal your peace. It's a choice. You always have a choice. Am I going to continue to let this bother me, or am I going to acknowledge what bothered me and then start assuming better so that it goes away or changes? That's really what this game is all about. Acknowledge what you're seeing that you don't like. Decide what you'd prefer instead. Start acknowledging that that's the truth now. And then it will all shift. It will all change. You just have to let it. You just have to sit back and watch it unfold. So I was super excited to share this. I hope this helps anyone who's dealing with a third party in any way. It could be a romantic third party. It could be a friend that you don't want to. It could be a neighbor. It could be whatever. A third party is just a person. For the purposes of this video, third party is a person in your experience, and maybe you just don't want them in your experience anymore, or you want them in your experience in a different way. This is also another way to explain everyone as you pushed out, because third parties they're also just a projection of your awareness. So stop being aware that there's somebody acting in a way that you don't like. Stop allowing that narrative to continue. Stop telling yourself that's how this person is, that's who they are, that's what role they play, and they will change, and everybody will shift too. Like this worked out for everybody involved. If I were to assume something about the third party now, I would assume that she's being a victim, being happy, blaming whoever she wants to blame, but she feels good because now she doesn't have to deal with that drama. Like, I'm just going to assume the best for her. She feels good because now she doesn't have to deal with that drama, and she has other people she wants to spend time with, and she feels good about this break too, So you can assume the best for everybody involved, and it will always play out that way. But when it comes to a third party, I have seen people be successful approaching it two different ways. One way is you decide something different is true about the third party. The other way is you just write them out of the story, which is what I did. I didn't focus so much on what's going on with the third party. I just focused on what was true about their existence in my reality now, right? So it doesn't matter which way you approach it. Do it, whatever feels the best for you. I could have also assumed they decided they don't want to be friends, or I could have changed the version of them, right? Like I could have started assuming they have realized the error in their ways. They're kind, they're loving. They feel really bad about all their bad behavior. I could have done that too. And then that third party would have changed to be somebody good, like somebody that my friend would want to be around. But it doesn't matter. This is your experience. The only judge is you. So decide what you want and then start assuming that truth. And everything will just follow your instructions. Your subconscious mind will deliver your instructions. Everything you want will manifest based on whatever truth you're telling now. So I intend this helped you. If you have any other questions about manifesting away a third party, or manifesting in a third party, anything related to everyone as you pushed out, put that in the comments, because I would love to do more videos on this. But I just thought this was a really fun success story. So don't stress if there's a third party in your reality showing up. It's just showing you a story alive in your consciousness, a story alive in your awareness. How do you get rid of the third party if you don't want them there? You change the story about it. You change what you are aware of as true related to that person in those circumstances, and then it'll all shift and change. All right. I think that's it for this video. I intend to have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.